Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. I got Blake Cashman joining me today in the Hang on Ron Johnson segment. That's why, of course, I'm wearing my Gopher Maroon. Excited to get my guy Blake back in here. Talk a little training camp, a little offseason. He just had a football camp, so we'll catch up with him about that, why he gives back to the community, where did that start, and how fun has that been to be able to give back to a youth football camp. But also, there's a lot of guys in this defense that are going to be in the top 100, maybe one or two, maybe three. But we got to get Blake Cashman to talk to us about that. But also, he hung out with Dante Culpepper when he was a kid. Why? What happened? And why did he make a joke about it? We got that and much more coming up next on the Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now the Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. And it starts now.
Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning out here in Minneapolis. I don't know where you guys are listening from, but thank you. Those who are watching on YouTube, I appreciate it as well. Make sure you guys tell somebody that we're here. This is Locked On Sports Minnesota. I'm your host, Ron Johnson. This is the Ron Johnson Show, and my co-host is Sam Ekstrom. He'll be joining me in a minute, but everybody didn't know, before we jump into the show, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Meaning you've been on FanDuel before, you've looked at it, you've played around with it, but you have not made a bet. Today is your day. Make your first $5 bet, and if that wins, you'll get 150 bonus bucks. Hey, here's what you should do, because it's early, it's out there. I checked it. I was in Nashville. I was able to do a couple things. The Minnesota Vikings versus Chicago Bears. I would take the Minnesota Vikings right now, people. Take the Minnesota Vikings right now. That is a guaranteed $5 bet win. And then you get 150 bucks in bonus bets. So for all my Vikings fans out there, sorry, Bears fans. If I'm a Bears fan, I'm probably going to bet the points saying the Bears won't lose by like 21 or something like that. But hey, Vikings fans, just take the money line. The Vikings are going to beat the Chicago Bears on the first game of the season. So make sure you guys do that and get $150 in bonus bets. And now you're playing with house money. Now you can just go bet on whatever you want. You can bet on the rest of the season, but make sure you do that. Rules, terms do apply, and it is for FanDuel states. For those in the area, Wisconsin is one of them. Or sorry, Iowa is one of them, which is a short drive. So, again, I'm Ron Johnson. This is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. As I bring my co-host to the show, Sam Ekstrom. We got Blake Cashman joining us later in the Hang on Ron Johnson segment. Looking forward to that. We got the Daily 3 coming up. For those who don't know, that's 3 questions, usually about 3 minutes each, but it depends on how long the show has gone, and we shorten the segment by time. But Sam, man, good to see you, Sam. We're going to talk about defense and training camp, because we got Blake Cashman joining us. So in the next 2 weeks, people, we got 1 week of Blake Cashman. And next week, I'm hoping to get offensive lineman. So I'm going to stay on him this week. And then next week, we'll talk offense. So for today, we're going to talk defensive bubble roster guys. So not your starters, not your guys that are going to be in that Brian Flores 3-4 defense. We kind of know who that is. When you look at the depth chart right now for the defense, you got Jonathan Allen slated as the left defensive end. You got Harrison Phillips slated as the nose tackle. You got Javon Hargrave as the right DN. So that's your front three. And that's 2 out of the 3 guys are new. So that means Kwesi did his thing this offseason. And then you got Jonathan Grenard, you got Ivan Pace Jr., you got Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel. We've had those guys before, so we know what they give us. Then, now this is the new one. You got Isaiah Rodgers at left corner, and then at right corner, right now, they have Mekhi Blackman as questionable. They have Byron Murphy Jr. as the nickel, and you remember that, Sam. We had Ryan Clark on here when Byron Murphy first came to Minnesota Vikings, and the one thing Ryan Clark said was Byron Murphy is a traveling cornerback, which means he does not have to stay on one side of the field. He can move to the slot if he has to. And so I'm guessing that's why they're moving him to the nickel and kind of giving him that role right now, which means I'm guessing the intel came from somewhere. But again, everything changes with training camp. People shine, people show coaches different things, and it could all change. But that's what it is right now. Also, how healthy is Mekhi Blackman, which means Dwight McGlovern, who's his backup, potentially is out there first in nickel. Jeff Okudah could be first out there in nickel, or Ambry Thomas. But right now, Ambry Thomas is behind Jeff Okudah, probably because of Jeff Okudah and who he has been in the past. And Ambry Thomas was an undrafted guy that just made the team for the 49ers and continues to turn heads out of the University of Michigan from Detroit, my high school, by the way, Martin Luther King. And then you look at Harrison Smith, of course, and Josh Metellus at the safeties. Here's where I go with the backup. So I think Jay Ward is not just a bubble player, but he's going to be a big part of that defense, because right now they don't have the 3 safety thing in here. So maybe that changes a little bit this year. We'll see. But I think Jay Ward is going to be a healthy part of this defense. I think Theo Jackson's going to be another big piece. We know Theo Jackson just got paid, got a contract. So Theo Jackson, I think, is going to be a big part. I think Theo Jackson is a bigger part than Jay Ward, but I think, with Harrison Smith's age, you're going to have to use all 4 safeties. Those are the only, and then of course they have one more safety behind him, but I think those are your 4 safeties. I think it cuts off there. I don't think they're going to keep a 5th. From the cornerback position, Jeff Okudah, Ambry Thomas, you got Dwight McGlover. I think it comes down to those 3, in my opinion, as backups. I could be wrong, but that gives you 10 defensive backs. You also have your guy, Tavier Thomas, and where he falls. But yeah, I think it's going to be 10 to 11 DBs. It's tough to keep 10 to 11 DBs, though, unless they're healthy parts of special teams. So for my bubble guys that I'm really just going to focus on today, I'm going with Ambry Thomas, Jeff Okudah. Like, I think Ambry Thomas and Jeff Okudah, might be fighting for the same spot. Like, they might be. It feels like they both should be there because their names I know. I don't know about football fans. Football fans probably don't know Ambry Thomas as well as I do, just because I know him. But Jeff Okudah is a name people know, but he kind of fell off after he left Detroit. I think he's going to be a big part between the 2 of those guys, because we know the Minnesota Vikings, you're going to have to play special teams. I think it's going to come down to who's the best special teams guy. Isaiah Rodgers is a smaller guy, so I don't know where he falls in maybe being a gunner, where usually it is the bigger, stronger guys that can hold up a receiver or a bigger defensive back that's a gunner. And that's where I think you have to make this team on special teams if you're not one of the first 11. Like, you have to be a part there. Another name I'm going to go with, Eric Wilson and Kobe King. They're backing up. One, Eric Wilson is backing up Ivan Pace Jr. Kobe King is backing up Blake Cashman. We know in this blitz heavy defense that those linebackers are always getting after the quarterback. So those are my guys, Sam. I'm going to go with Eric Wilson, Kobe King, Jeff Okudah, and Ambry Thomas. I think those are the bubble guys that really, really are going to show what they can do in that Patriots week. Because the Patriots week, like the first preseason game, I think everybody's going to be out there. It's kind of nerves, getting your feet wet. You just came off a training camp, so on and so forth. But that Patriots week is the week where it's like, okay, we've played a game. We have an idea of who can give us what. You'll kind of see the depth chart, not publicly, but in practice, you'll see the depth chart change a little bit with like, okay, oh man, let's get Ambry Thomas maybe in here more a little bit in nickel. Let's put let's get Kobe King in here when we get Ivan Pace out first. Like, I want Kobe King but next to Blake Cashman versus behind Blake Cashman. So a lot of that stuff, you'll see names change. You'll see, and the crazy thing, man, is Brian Asamoah has moved behind Kobe King. Like, that's the tough thing about the NFL. Like, there's guys you like, there's names you like, there's attributes you like about a player. But again, how does that translate on the field? Brian Asamoah was like one of the fastest linebackers that they had gotten. We talked about him. But the NFL draft and free agency can really, like, I remember I was that guy. My 3rd year, I was sitting around watching and seeing like who are they going to draft? Who are they going to pick up? Like, how many receivers did they bring in? And every year it's like, oh, they only brought in one. Okay, I'm good. And you just kind of hope that they don't load up. Like when I went to the Bears, that was the first thing I was worried about, the 1st round draft pick. They could have took Braylon Edwards. They end up taking the running back out of Texas.
Cedric Benson.
Cedric Benson. And I remember when they took Cedric Benson, I'm like, okay, good. All right, we didn't take Braylon Edwards. I'm good. Because they already had Muhsin Muhammad. They have Bernard Berrien. And so I'm like, all right, they get a 3rd. I'm kind of in trouble. And they didn't. They stuck with those 2. I ended up moving to tight end, but yeah, they did not draft Braylon Edwards. And that made it even easier for me to go back and celebrate because I went to Braylon's draft party. I went to Detroit and hung out with him. That was my guy. That still is my guy. And that was the one thing I was like, thank God. I mean, I would have loved to have been teammates with him for a little bit because we're friends, but I'm like, dude, I don't want you here taking my spot. Like, go somewhere else. And he went to Cleveland. So thank goodness. The Chicago Bears did not take Cedric Benson, and the Cleveland Browns got Braylon Edwards. But you're watching that stuff. You're always watching that stuff to see who drafts, who's getting picked up. And so I think Brian Asamoah is going to become a casualty of Kobe King. I don't know. What do you think, Sam, about the bubble guys? And then also, like some of the guys we thought could be bubble guys that have been here that fans have loved, and they might not be here this year.
Yeah, let me ask you this. So on Ambry Thomas, he was playing in the playoffs in the Super Bowl year for the 49ers. He was doing big snaps in the conference championship game against Detroit. So he was a big part of that team. Was it injury that kind of wiped out his last season? Like what do you know about the situation that kind of took him off the field for San Francisco? Did he get hurt last year?
He got hurt. Yeah, he had a broken arm. Yep, he had a broken arm. So it's not a leg. It's not nothing that they can move. They are, it's more of just arm stuff. So like I said, because I asked him, I'm like, how healthy are you in your legs and moving and practicing? He's like, oh man, I'm good. Because he said literally it was just put a cast on it and wait for it to heal. He had like I think he had a little surgery to go in there and clean something up maybe, but other than that, he said to casted it up, and he has like a little scar, and that was it. And so he's like, yeah, I'm good. So the fact that it's an arm, I'm less like if it was an ACL or a torn hammy or something like that, I think, or MCL, anything knee, leg related, you're kind of like, oh man, this guy's coming off a broken foot. Can he still move the way? Oh man, he's coming off an ACL. Like, and that's for cornerbacks. ACL is like a career killer because, like your job relies on you moving freely and guessing and reacting to a receiver moving. And so for Ambry, it was an arm. So yeah, he was just out with an arm injury, he broke his arm, and and then the Vikings, he came off of whatever that injury, whatever designation is, and then the Vikings picked him up right away. So I think Kwesi has done a lot. I mean, we talked about all the guys he picked up, Fries and Kelly and Allen and Hargrave. Everybody's coming off injury. So it's like a buy low, sell high. I think Kwesi being a money guy, Rob Brzezinski being a money guy, is like, look, we know these guys are good. Let's get them with our trainers, because I'm pretty sure, before they signed them, we know you have to go see the trainer to get your, get cleared, because you can't just sign a contract and be hurt. So, they got cleared. None of these guys show up as questionable, which is great on the depth chart. The only questionable guys, Will Fries is questionable, though, so we know he's still coming off injury, but Christian Darrisaw, Will Fries, and Mekhi Blackmon. So, again, we know that's going to update after like Saturday, probably, because after that Saturday practice, when the media is allowed to be there, then they'll probably, people start asking questions. But technically, they don't have to do any of that until that first preseason game.
Right.
They don't have to give us any intel, nothing. That's August 9th. August 9th. I feel like I'm like, man, it's coming fast. Like I got 3 weeks, and then I'll be back. I'm hoping we don't have to wear a suit and tie for preseason. I'm pushing for like polos for preseason. Yeah. Keep cash for preseason. Nobody wants to get fully suited up in the sun and it's hot outside. And yeah, let's go casual with some, not shorts though, because I know that looks bad, but give us the polo and the slacks, like we're the training camp show we do, because training camp show, we do that. We do polos, we do pants. So I'm hoping that they do that for preseason. But yeah, I think with these guys being questionable, the good thing, like I said, Ambry Thomas is not. Here's one for you though, Sam. When you look at this defensive line, and I can't call heads or tails of this.
Mm-hmm.
Levi Drake Rodriguez was really good last year. Like, preseason, everybody kind of loved him. But now they have him third behind Jalen Redmond because of the Javon Hargrave pickup. So do you think guys like that, guys that we kind of like, was like, man, Levi Drake Rodriguez, he was mic'd up, he was doing this, like and now they went out and got Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, Jalen Redmond behind them, was it? How you say that? Taimani.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tyron Ingram Dawkins. So that's the twos, the ones we know. They have Levi Drake Rodriguez in the threes. Is there a chance like Levi Drake Rodriguez could do something to get Jalen Redmond out of there? Because Jalen Redmond played well. So that's what I'm wondering is like, is he another casualty of that? Or do they keep 7 defensive linemen? Because in the past, that was always the issue, was they weren't keeping enough D linemen, and some coaches weren't happy. Brian Flores wanted to go deeper on the DB side. Does that change now?
Yeah, it's a numbers game, right? Because it always comes down to, are you keeping an extra DB or an extra front 7? I think that At the edges, you have your big three with Turner, Van Ginkel, and Grenard, and then probably Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins is a shoe-in, and he's a tweener, right? He can play a little inside, little outside. On the interior, your starters are set, like you said. Jalen Redmond feels like he's your top interior backup. Probably room for one more after that. I don't know if you can keep two additional. So it comes down to Taki or Levi Drake Rodriguez, and that feels like a very even competition going into preseason games. And I feel that way kind of across the board. Like there's a lot of spots where you're going to have kind of a head-to-head. I mean, I think Eric Wilson and Kobe King to some extent, or maybe it's Asamoah and Kobe King are battling. Those two are battling head-to-head for a spot. I think it could be Ambry Thomas battling Tavier Thomas, the battle of the Thomases to get that final cornerback spot. The D-line, Ron, do you get the sense they want to be really versatile, a lot of different bodies, a lot of different sub packages? Like, I think they're going to keep a lot of defensive linemen so they can have a big rotation. I think they're going to have a really healthy rotation, so that could lean toward keeping one extra,
right?
But it comes down to the numbers in the end. And Ron, a lot of times we make a big deal about it, and then the guys that get cut end up on the practice squad, and then they get elevated on game day, and then it's really not a big deal. So maybe that's what happens. But it's going to be a battle. I think that Levi Drake, did they draft him or was he a UDFA?
I thought he was like a 6 or 7 round draft pick.
Yeah, I think he was a 7th round pick. I think you're right. Yeah, no, that'll be interesting to watch. A lot of second year guys watching to see how they develop.
So when you look at the 24, because they go 12 deep in their starter lineup because they just throw nickels out there. So if you look at the 2 deep, they're at 24 for defense already.
Yeah. So
there's only 53 spots. If you go offense, they're at 22 in their 2 deep. Or did they make theirs 24? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, yeah, there. So 24 offense, 23 defense because they don't have a backup fullback. Because, I forgot they have the fullback in there with the CJ Ham. So they have 23 offense, 24 defense. That's 47. So you already got 47 guys. You got your punter, kicker, holder. Punter, kicker, long snapper. So that's 50. So there's 3 spots. 3 spots. That's where I wonder, do they carry a third quarterback, or do they not do it because you get the guy anyway on the roster that doesn't? Oh yeah, never mind. He doesn't count towards it. So that doesn't affect it. I think I would hope Max Brosmer goes to practice squad and Brett Rippon is QB3 and is on the practice squad because you can always elevate him. But you're at 47, you're at 50 right now with the 2 deep, offense and defense. And so that's where I wonder, of those 3, where do you find the 3 you really need? Because receiver-wise, they go 3 deep, and so that puts Lucky Thomas, Joshua Jones, and Thayer Thomas out, and maybe more in practice squad. Ty Felton, Rondell Moore, Tim Jones, Jalen Naylor, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. And we'll talk about that next week because we are going to talk about the offensive side of the ball. But defensively, when you look at from the 3rd group, who can you pull over? I'm guessing it's Ambry Thomas. From a linebacker perspective, I don't know if they need more than 4. Like, do you need Eric Wilson, Kobe King, Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace, and one more? Like, could Brian Asamoah still get it as a practice or as a special teams guy? You're right, Sam. Do they go a little deeper in the defensive line and keep Levi Drake Rodriguez as the 7th defensive lineman? Potentially. You look at the rush ends, you got Dallas Turner, you got Bo Richter. From there, does Gabriel Murphy or Chaz Chambliss, do they do enough to say, like, man, we got to keep 5 outside linebackers? When you look down at these other DBs, I don't think any of these other DBs other than Ambry Thomas can get in that, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11 DBs at that point. Maybe Tavier Thomas, you don't need an additional nickel. So does that give Ambry Thomas the nod? Because even though he's not listed as nickel, maybe there's some movement there. And Ambry Thomas, because Ambry Thomas told me he can play in the nickel, and I know Isaiah Rodgers can play in the nickel as well. So maybe Tavier Thomas versus Ambry Thomas becomes the Thomas versus Thomas becomes the question mark. So that's why training camp is fun. You start writing these names down, you start keeping track. I know after our first training camp week, me and Sam are both going to kind of we'll do 1 week offense, 1 week defense, but we'll kind of do our too early 53-man roster.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just kind of put that out there. Here's our too early 53, and then we'll see what it looks like. Like when it's after week 3 and they start naming them, we'll come back and see how many of our 53 matched up. Because again, these are just what I'm saying based off what I've seen, and of course the coaches don't even know. Because I remember that when I came into the Bears, they had me with the 3s and the 4s because I was just an undrafted, or sorry, I was a unrestricted free agent pickup. Like, hey, we're bringing this receiver in, we'll see what he can do. And so every week I moved up, and then eventually they're like, hey man, can you go to tight end? I went to tight end. I was the second tight end. So like or third tight end, so you just keep moving. Like you just never know what's going to happen with these guys. And again, that's not a lot. There's maybe a handful, 4 to 5 guys that were like, oh, I didn't even think this guy would make their team, So, but it does suck. Cause I mean, I know guys know the ones, and then you see the 2s go in. So you're like, man, okay, I'm behind all these guys. All right. I gotta make my name. But speaking of a guy that made a name for himself, a guy that nobody knew could be a superstar, I always knew he was a great athlete from Eden Prairie High School. He played it for the Gophers, of course. That's why I got the maroon on today. We're going to get Blake Cashman there in the Hang Around Johnson segment to sit down, talk a little bit about the summer, and then what his expectations are for the season. And we'll do that after a word from our sponsors.
We are brought to you by FanDuel today. Summer sports still in full swing. All-Star game tonight. I don't know if I would wager on the All-Star game. That seems like a dicey proposition, but you got WNBA action. You've got the Open Championship this weekend. Will Scottie Scheffler add another major to his resume? That's going to be a ton of fun. We've got high-stakes soccer action. FanDuel's the best way to make every moment more exciting. So with FanDuel, you can put together a live same-game parlay. They've got new daily promotions. Check out your favorite matchups. Keep refreshing that app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app, or check out FanDuel.com. Live wagering options also available to add a little more excitement. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
As promised, got my guy Blake Cashman in here to Hang Around Johnson segment on Locked On Sports Minnesota. I know I got a call from the Minnesota Vikings, so I know when I got a report. But Blake, when do you have to report? Because I don't have to do anything. I just get to wear polos, and I get to sit on chairs and watch you guys and give my feedback and do a little, upcoming preseason game talk. But you actually have to do the work, man. So as you count down the days, what day do you report?
I report a week from today, the 22nd.
Oh man. And so when you, in your mind right now, like what does a week from today for Blake Cashman look like? Like what does your week look like as you prepare to head to training camp?
I just continue to do my summer training that I've been doing. As you get close to training camp like we are, you tend to scale back a little bit, what we would call like a deload week. So you're not pushing yourself as hard because you want to go into training camp feeling fresh and ready to go. But as when it comes to my free time, I'm just spend the week relaxing and then maybe catch up with some family or friends because for a guy like me, when I get to the season, I kind of go on ghost mode and I don't see people or talk to them enough for a long time just because I'm so focused. But I'm mentally and physically ready to go. But when it comes to training camp, it's always a bittersweet feeling. You're excited for the season, but it's a long month ahead of you.
And when you look at, your 2023, 106 tackles, 2024, 112 tackles, what does 2025 look like for Blake Cashman? Because I mean, you're every year. I mean, you went from 26 tackles to 106 tackles in one season. And so when you look at Blake Cashman now, like you're coming in as the veteran, you're coming in as the young guys are going to model after 4.5 sacks. No interceptions though, man. Come on, you got to get the hands going, man. Like I know you can catch because I've seen you play receiver. I've seen you play safety. You had a pick in 2023, but no picks. But what does that feel like for you now coming in as like the veteran starting superstar, kind of guy where everybody's like, okay, he's our linebacker.
Yeah, I think for this season, my mindset going into it is Of course, building off the year I had, this is the first time in a while I've been able to be a part of a team and a coaching staff that retained everybody, and you don't have to learn a new defensive scheme. So
Yeah.
it's going to be easy to kind of take that defense schematically to the next level, really, get into the finer details and explore different things that myself and other players can do to help our defense. And, for me in my career, it's all early on, it was all about, just being available, being healthy. And over the last few years, I've been available more often than I was my first few years. So that's always an important key, just keeping the body right and building off the year I had. But like you said, I feel like going in this year, my goal is to, come up with at least 4 game-changing plays, whether it be a forced fumble, strip sack, interception. I think that's something where over the last couple of years I've come close, but I need to take advantage of this year. It's going to be a big year.
And you got Kobe King in your locker room now, former Penn State, guy. He's from Detroit, Michigan, so I know him and his family. But what have you seen? Because when I talked to Keenan McCardell about Kobe King, he said, man, he's built. Like he's got the NFL body type, like the big neck, shoulders. And when you see him move around and run, like what have you seen about Kobe King that he can bring to the NFL?
Well, you said it. He definitely has the build. He's a strong inside linebacker, a guy that brings a lot of violence to the football field, and that's what we love on defense. That's what Brian Flores and our coaching staff absolutely loves about him. But he's a guy that they're immediately plugging in to the Mike spot, and then if our other veteran Eric Wilson's in, he might move him to Will, but just really challenging him to fully understand the defense, what we're trying to accomplish, and really test his versatility. And in the offseason program, he did a great job. So I expect them to continue to do that through training camp. And then when we get into preseason, he will get a lot of reps to really sharpen his tools to get ready to help us win football games this season.
And you got another Gopher now in your locker room, Max Brosmer, man. How have you guys connected as far as Gophers or just period or had conversations?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually last summer did a golf event with him, so I got to connect with him, get to know him a little bit, and follow his season last year when he was with the Gophers. But when he signed with Minnesota, he hit me up right away, and he had some questions. Just as a rookie, it can be overwhelming. You're walking to a new locker room, so he just wanted to have some insight on what to expect, how's the tempo in the off-season program, how is practice and the weights and weight training, all that structured. And during the time in the off-season program, the rookies, they have a little bit different schedule than us vets, but we always found time to eat lunch together and just check in, because as we all know, that spend time in the NFL, your rookie season can be a lot on your plate.
Right. And that's the other thing about it. Like being a rookie, for him to reach out to you. I mean, I've already heard stories about him, doing that kind of stuff. I know JJ McCarthy, reached out to Kobe King right away, he wanted to just meet everybody that was coming to be a Minnesota Viking, and JJ McCarthy's taking on that leadership role. Have you seen that from JJ, like early on, like showing, I want to be the leader. I am a cap, I can be a leader on this team, even though, this is my first year truly playing and starting.
Absolutely. I mean, I even saw it right away last year. And then, even when he had to go through his injury, his presence was still felt in our building. And that's the type of player and person JJ McCarthy is. The guy's a winner, the ultimate competitor. He's handled himself like a professional from day one. And I think, he's set for a really big year, a breakout year for, a young quarterback. Is technically his rookie season. So, we have all the confidence in the world with 9 back there.
And looking at, the other guys coming into the defense again, because you guys are new Now you're the captain now, you're one of the guys that, the coach communicates with the most, but, you bring in Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, you bring in a lot of new bodies that are going to be in front of you. What does that process look like? Because I know right now slated, you got Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen with Harrison Phillips, but, you're the guy they're trying to keep clean. You're the guy they want to eat up, additional back so you can get to the running back. But how is that? Because of course you don't have pads on, nothing can be done yet into training camp. But what is that? Because when I talked to a couple coaches, and Brian Flores and I connected a little bit, and the one thing they were saying was, yeah, guys are in different stages right now. We have different little things we can do within our periods. But for you guys as a defense, not being able to actually hit anybody, how has that been, trying to get that communication down, understand what Flores wants and what the scheme looks like in the front for you to, for you guys to kind of work together?
Well, you said it. So far we've just got the off-season program, OTAs, and our mini camp done, and that was really the focus point, was making sure we are all dialed in on communication.
Requires everyone to be on the same page. There's a lot of changing parts quickly, and we have a lot of check system where we're changing the call at the line of scrimmage based off what the offense is giving us. So the communication is big, make sure we're all on the same page. And then as we get into training camp, we like to get exotic with our rush plans and our blitzes and whatnot. So really being on the same page and working through the timing of those rush plans is going to be, I think, a big point of emphasis. But I'm really excited about the new guys we got. It's definitely going to help our football team, help our defense, and it's going to make my job a lot easier. About it.
That's the one thing about football that I love is all that stuff. And so one fun one, have you had a chance? Because I talked to Kobe King about this. We had him on earlier. We had Theo Jackson on, and Theo Jackson, and him and Harrison Smith being from the same area. Theo Jackson, University of Tennessee. And I'm a big softball guy because of my daughter. So me and Theo kind of talked about Tennessee softball is actually really good. And we joked around about that. But have you guys looked at how many Big Ten guys now are in your locker room? Like, I don't know if you've actually ever did the math of like how many guys from the Big Ten, because you guys haven't all been together just yet. But have you done that yet and looked at it?
No, honestly, it hasn't even come to mind.
So, because I mean, you know how it gets. Like some people have different rivalries for certain teams, for certain schools, and so when I did the quick go through, and I'm down to the D, I was on the offense first. So when you're looking at your offense alone, and this is what's crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They have 14 Big Ten guys on the offensive side of the ball. And so I haven't even gone through the defense, which again, that there's you, Elijah Williams, the DN is from Michigan State. And so when you think about that, being in that locker room, because Kobe King brought this up, Penn State versus Minnesota, he said on his recruiting trip was actually that 2018 game. I don't know if he told you that story yet, but, him and his brother were, seriously looking at Penn State. And then, they talked about, we're going to play Minnesota. We're top 4 in the country or whatever. We're going to be on ESPN. You were on that 2018 team, right?
I was on, no.
Or were you gone?
Yeah, that was the year after me, because that's the year that, they upset Penn State. It was a awesome game. And then they went on to beat Auburn in the Outback Bowl.
Yep.
And I think they finished the season 10th in the nation, which was awesome to see as an alum and a Gopher football fan.
Well, I was gonna say, because you got to do your work now, because I mean you got Michigan in there, you got Penn State, USC, Maryland, Purdue, Michigan State, Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Ohio State are all in your locker room. So I know, as you're going through your stuff, UCLA. I keep forgetting UCLA is in the Big Ten as well now. So you got a UCLA guy there, and Gabriel Murphy. So you make sure you hold it, because Van Ginkel. I forgot about Van Ginkel is Wisconsin. So you got your work cut out for you. So that's the other thing too. But I also would say, if you guys ever get a chance, just gang up on the rest of the locker room, because the Big Ten seems like it has the most numbers. I mean, that's always the SEC versus Big Ten conversation. I forgot about USC is in there too. Mekhi Blackman and the receiver Jordan Addison at USC. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of Big Ten guys. You got Jeff Okudah, I forgot, from Ohio State as well. So you got another guy there on defense. So there's a lot in there. Josh Metellus is at Michigan.
Yep.
So, yeah, you got a lot in there. I mean, you got Harrison Smith standing by himself with Notre Dame. But, even Jay Ward at LSU. Like, the Big Ten, like as much as people try to say, the Big Ten is really holding down that locker room. But I got to get a fun one out, man. We had Dante Culpepper on the show, former Vikings quarterback, and we had some conversations off the camera too. And one of the ones that came up is like, because I was like, hey, how does it feel to be that old that when you walk in the locker rooms now that you got players making fun of the fact that they actually went to your house to trick or treat? Now, so the question is, did you know it was his house? Like, did you know you were doing that to do that?
Oh yeah, because he was known for giving out all the big king size candy bars. So in the neighborhood, everyone was like, make sure you get to Culpepper's house first before the king size candy bars are out. And I remember there was always a rush. I think there was one time, like, because there was a point in my childhood where like 6 o'clock on the dot, like I was out, and that's kind of early. If someone's answered the door, like, dang, I just got home from work, like let me get out my work clothes, let me eat some dinner, settle in. Like, I was excited to go trick or treating, and I just remember every year, like, that was always the house you had to hit right away. And when I saw him in the locker room, I had to mention that, just because I think it's such a funny story and a funny connection.
And what did he say about it? Like, when you told him, like, hey, I used to trick or treat at your house when I was a kid.
He just kind of laughed, and he's like, yeah, I remember that. I think he mentioned something about how, because everybody wanted to get to his house already, he's like, there's a couple times I was answering the door like, dang, you kids are already out, ain't it a little early? But on top of him being the Vikings starting quarterback, like, people wanted that excuse to be able to meet him and interact with him.
Was there any other Vikings in that, like, in the area that you went to, or was he one of the only ones you kind of remember?
No, he's really the only one I can remember trick-or-treating with. I remember when E.J. Henderson was with the Vikings. He actually did some things with the Eden Prairie Football Association, so there was a little bit of a connection there while he was playing, and even when he was done. But other than that, like, a lot of the guys, they lived in apartment buildings in Eden Prairie, or like at the time, Antoine Winfield, he was more closer to Bloomington. But I was running around Bear Path trying to get all the good candy as much as I could.
And speaking of that time, you went to Eden Prairie High School, you moved on to the University of Minnesota, you had the opportunity to be coached by PJ Fleck. And I don't know if you've seen lately, though, but PJ's been doing a great job of locking down number one recruits in the state of Minnesota. And so when you see that now, these top kids staying home, being in the state of Minnesota, man, what does that feel like for you? But then also, like, why do you think PJ's having that success now?
Well, I think PJ Fleck, since he's gotten there, has added a lot of excitement to the program. And, he does a really good job recruiting, and he has the coaches putting a lot of time and effort into getting these kids, and I'm happy to see it, because I remember getting to the University of Minnesota, and during my time there, I was always wondering why we were losing in-state talent. And
right.
There's guys I can think of, like Amani Hooker, who he went to Park Center. He ended up being Big Ten defensive back of the year in Iowa, and now he's having a really good professional career. J.D. Spielman, who I went to high school, he went to Nebraska. It's like all these talented players aren't staying home, and that's frustrating as a player, because you want to get good recruits to keep the good pipeline of talent coming through the school and in the program, and then as a fan, you want to continue to see your program on the rise. But I think there's a reason. I think I just saw, if I'm correct, they extended PJ Fleck
one more year. And to 2030.
And so on top of his recruiting and also I think we're consistently starting to win bigger games than we have in the past. It's all trending in the right direction.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Minnesota. I think people forget that they can compete on the top. They're going to be on TV a lot. So it's not like you're going somewhere where you're not going to be seen. And, and as you know, like being a Minnesota guy, an Eden Prairie kid, and now with the Vikings, but mainly the Gophers, people have a lot of love for you. When you come back, people have a lot of love for you, and nothing against some of these other guys. But, I think about guys like the kid from Cretin-Durham Hall that went to like Miami or something. He was the big tackle.
Yep.
Can't remember his name. But, nobody really remembers him anymore. Like you go on to Miami, great. But then what happened? You didn't make it to the league. And then even further than that, there's no connection to the town anymore. And you're from here and nobody's really talking about it. I think, that's why Rashid Hageman, people are still loving him and he's still around and hanging out now and all that stuff. So I think there's always something to that. And that's going to always be the key for these kids is like, what's the best opportunity for you? And, Minnesota you can be great here. You can make like Coy Parrish, the name that rings on forever. Man, a fun one. I did this with Max Brosmer. I didn't think about it until I talked to Keenan McCarter about this. So it's kind of one of those random things. It's your coaches now. These are two of your coaches, and you're a linebacker. Max Brosmer asked this question too about Josh McCown and Kevin O'Connell, both former quarterbacks. Josh is older than Kevin, even though one's the head coach and one's the quarterback coach. Josh was in my draft class in 2002, so we're old. But I asked Max Brosmer this on the show about 7-on-7 because I've had Kevin O'Connell. I talked to Kevin O'Connell before too about this, and Kevin likes to sling the ball still. Josh likes to get out there and throw the ball, because you never really let it go. Keenan, says he ain't running no routes, but he's like, I'll catch some balls. But if you are at linebacker and they're running 7-on-7, Kevin O'Connell has a chance to be the quarterback against you, or Josh McCown. Who are you scared of the most of completing more passes on you? Like, who would you rather come in at quarterback? Because you're like, I know we're going to get some interceptions on this guy.
So who I think would be dicing us up more?
Correct. Which of the two would dice you up between Josh McCown and Kevin O'Connell?
That's a good question. I think I would probably say Josh McCown, just because he's had a longer time actually actively playing, and he's very active while going through the drill work and the fundamentals during practice. That would probably be my guess, but I'm sure it'd be a pretty close race.
Well, that's two for Josh McCown now. So Josh McCown has gotten two. Kevin O'Connell. Max Brosmer was like, man, I don't want to get cut.
He's a smart kid.
But he's like, I spent more time with Josh, and he's like, Josh can just throw 50 yards without even warming up. Like, he just goes out there and flicks his wrist. He still's got it. He's throwing it. He's like, Kevin can throw it, but it's not the same, And I'm like, well, Josh, you're right. Josh has been doing it longer. Josh, he stayed true to it. He kept working out, like, in his late 30s, 38, 39, because he was still trying to play. So yeah, I mean, I asked, because we had Josh on too, and we were talking to Josh about this. And he bought that up. He was like, because at first I thought Ed Reed lasted longer, but Josh actually lasted longer than Ed Reed, because I think Ed Reed and Josh McCown were the last two from the 2002 draft class, because I have the picture up here from our group that went down to LA and did all that crap in LA with the like, hey, rookie year in the NFL stuff.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the list of people on there, Julius Peppers and Roy Williams, the safety from the Cowboys, and Lito Shepherd, and all these different guys, Mike Rump, Philip Buchanan, Ed Reed, and Josh McCown and he was like a 6th-round pick, but outlasted all of us. He ended up being in. So that's what I always tell people. Like, it doesn't matter where you're drafted, when you're drafted, it depends on what you do in the field. And I leave that to say, Blake Cashman, you're one of those guys, man. Like, you're one of those guys that I don't think anybody knew what you could be. I always told you in high school, even I knew what you could be. Like, I saw you, I saw Carter, even Drake Dobbs. I know he's going overseas to play basketball now, but like I can tell the kids that have it and want it. And then you could tell the kids that get all the publicity, but never actually have anything really behind it. They just get the pub. And, you are one of the hard-nosed guys, man. I appreciate you for joining me on the Ron Johnson Show. I know you're going to be at a Gopher game this year, so I look forward to seeing you out there. I just talked to Daniil Hunter about that, because Daniil Hunter, I took Daniil Hunter to his first Gopher game So he reached out to me because he was in town, and he's like, man, I'll be back for preseason, man. So let's link up. So I keep forgetting the Texans are coming here because I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I forgot the Texans are coming to Minnesota. So, you'll have the Texans here. You'll have the Patriots here. Is there anything you're looking forward to, by the way, of facing the Patriots for a week? Like, is it Cardi B coming to town?
I guess, maybe the media circus that might, revolve around Stefon Diggs being back in Minnesota. I guess I'd be interested to see what people have to say there. But, with it being a joint practice, like it's a great time to kind of evaluate, where you're at and where the defense and the team's at. So I'm excited to see, what that week looks like for us as a defense and myself.
How much Offset are y'all going to play on the speakers? Like, how many Offset or Cardi B songs are going to get played over the speakers? Because you guys have no control over that. So I wonder how petty, the Vikings entertainment
I could definitely
group.
see some guys, trying to have some influence. Like, we got to play these songs. I could see a guy being a big advocate for that would be Jonathan Grenard. I could see him making sure he likes to play those mind games a little bit and
I love it.
Keep it fun and light, but I would expect to hear some of those.
I figure because I know Jonathan Grenard. He is one of those guys. I remember when last year you guys were out there and there was a lot of jokes going on, a lot of stuff, and Grenard seemed like to be in the middle of most of it.
He is.
Yeah, like that's been the talk of like social media, like how chirpy is it going to be this season period? How many teams are going to play these songs in their stadium? Is it going to be a Cardi B song? Is it going to be an Offset song? For those at home, the older fans that follow us, Cardi B is a rapper that's dating Stefon Diggs, just to catch you guys up. Because some people are probably listening. They're going to listen later and be like, wait, what? Who are these people? Offset is her baby's father. That was her ex-fiance that she then broke up with, and now she's dating Stefon Diggs, the wide receiver for the Patriots. For now, you guys are caught up, and it would be petty to play her ex-boyfriend's music while Stefon Diggs, her current boyfriend, is in the Vikings stadium. But yeah, no, it should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that too. Like I told Stefon, my first year doing this, so this is my 11th year doing Vikings Game Day Live. My first year, Stefon Diggs, I interviewed him when he came up, and he was a rookie, and so he was one of the first guys that let me interview him. So I always tell Stefon Diggs I appreciate the time for that because some people, he could have easily just walked off the field, and he came over and gave us like 10 to 15 minutes, and that was my first introduction to interviewing players. And so now I kind of got it down because I look back at the first one, it was horrible. Like I was like, what was I talking about? Like, like me and him are just laughing at stuff because like it was so many like things that happened in practice that I couldn't say. So I'm trying not to bring it up, but he's laughing about it. It's just like, this was terrible. Like it looked like two friends just like trying to talk about dumb stuff. I mean, he did say some good stuff, but I just looked at the whole interview and I was like, oh, this was horrible. But no, and we both looked so young. Yeah. It feels worse than it looks, but to me, it just was like, oh, this was bad. But yeah, no, but I'm looking forward to him being back because like one, you get a good quarterback coming into the building, you get a young team with some veteran players. And so, I think that's going to be, and it always gets chippy, that. Like, I'm pretty sure Kevin O'Connell's going to try to keep it under control. But, sometimes in the heat of the battle, training camp's long, you can't fight the fight. It's going to happen. But I'm Ron Johnson, that's Blake Cashman, man. I want to thank Blake for joining me. Go Gophers, Sky, you might row the boat. We know all that. But also, you know what, man? I'm looking forward to saying Skol Vikings in just a little bit because we got Vikings Game Day Live is coming up August 9th. That will be the first game, and Blake's going to be ready to – well, Blake probably won't play. But we'll get
I'll get a series in, I'm sure.
One series, okay. You'll get one series in. But I'm Ron Johnson, and coming up next, we got the Daily 3. That's 3 questions, about a minute each. And we'll be back after a word from our sponsors. Well, Sam, now it's time for the Daily 3. That's 3 questions. About a minute each today. We were a little bit long with Blake. Take it away.
All right. The theme of the Daily 3 is extensions. The Bears extended Ryan Poles, their GM, through 2029, despite having a 15-36 record under his watch. Ron, was this a wise move for Chicago?
It was a wise move for the Vikings fans. No, I mean, so here's the thing, man. Like, Brian Poles inherited like a tough situation. We know that. Like, they didn't really have a franchise quarterback. They didn't really have offensive line that could do much. I think that the offense was going in a direction I don't think they were going into, which is run the ball, throw it every once in a while. So it wasn't what, I don't think that's what the Bears wanted. Then they draft Caleb Williams. Well, the Caleb Williams draft pick, you also still have to go out and get offensive linemen to help them out. You also have to go get offensive weapons. They didn't have any pass weapons, because they were running the ball. And then I think they let go of all their running backs at one point. Like those guys, all Swift and all, everybody's gone somewhere. Or did they pick up Swift? I can't remember which, but I know they let their running backs go because one of them went to the Eagles and he ended up doing well. So that's where you just look at it and say, what are you trying to do? What is your purpose? What are you trying to get out of this offense? And so now it feels like they want to have a gunslinger type of offense with Caleb Williams. So, I mean, I get it. You're just trying to maybe have a little bit of consistency with the head coach and the GM and just see what that looks like. I think that was the other thing too. The head coaching situation there was weird. So it was a lot for Ryan Poles coming in to kind of revamp. Even ownership with the Bears are going through some changes and stuff. So there's a lot going on, and then trying to build a stadium and all the other stuff they're trying to do. So I get it. You don't want to be a gut reaction guy, but I think if he goes another and 15 and 36, he might just get fired.
Yeah, I think their head coach was the easy target last year, but now that they've got Ben Johnson there, now Ryan Poles will become the easy target if things don't work out this time and this season. Coming up next, we've got, I should say, PJ Fleck signs an extension through 2030. It's another 1-year extension. They've been adding on 1 year every summer. Are you good with the arrangement, keeping PJ Fleck comfortable as he enters year 9?
Yeah, so if you do the math now, we're in 2025. So that gives them 26, 27, 28, 29. So if you think about 4 years, 30 is 5. But if you think about 4 years, that's the extent of the kids he recruited. So I think every year he has a successful recruiting trail. He has a winning season. Because again, winning the Big Ten championship, man, with Michigan, let's be real, Michigan, Ohio State, it's hard. It's going to be hard. But are you sustainably winning? You don't want to be the bottom of the barrel. We're not the bottom of the barrel. And that's where I think people are getting confused with oh man, I can't believe we keep being okay with mediocrity. It hasn't been since the 70s and the 60s. If we're going to bowl games and they're winning, be happy with that. People act and then it amazes me. I'm what do you expect? There's only 2 teams that go to the national championship every year. Can we even get close to the Big Ten championship first? That's the first step. And I think for that, it's you still got to overcome Ohio State and Michigan. And that comes down to history. Kids historically want to go to Ohio State and Michigan. It is what it is. So I think PJ Fleck's doing a great job. And I think what they're doing is trying to make the parents know that sign a PJ Fleck, he will be here for the 4 years of your son's college career. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think if it starts going bad and you don't see extensions, then probably that's the writing on the wall. That, hey, we're just going to let him coach this out and we'll see what happens in the next 3 to 4 years. But every time they feel okay, he's got another great recruiting class, let's make sure he's here to get through this class, to make sure to give him because he went and got what he needed. He keeps saying, I need this, I need that. He got what he needed. Let's see, can he add to it? Can he keep going? Because, his quarterback, he just got the new tight end that's really, really good. Voss, tight end. So, he's getting these top recruits. But again, you're only getting one. It's not like he's getting 27 top recruits and he's getting the full portal guys like Ohio State and Alabama do in Georgia when they get all these portal guys to transfer. He's getting 1 or 2 5-stars, which is going to take a year or two. And then he's getting, he's got Coy Parrish. It's going to take, but he's got a quarterback, Drake Lindsey. So we'll see what he can do this year. But again, you still don't have a Rashad Bateman, Tyler Johnson, Eric Decker, Ron Johnson. He doesn't have that right now. But maybe one of these guys will come out of nowhere and be the next one. It's always, who's the next great receiver? Who's going to be the next great running back? You got Darius Taylor. So this seems like more of a running team now. You have 2 running backs that are really good. So I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It feels like Fleck has the leverage too, because he knows that the program doesn't want to change coaches, have a rebuild in this era. Right. They want stability. So that matters a lot. Last one, Ron. I watched a little home run derby last night. Wanted to see how Byron Buxton did. He got to the semifinals and then got ousted. But I was curious if you caught any of it, and what do you think of the format? Because I think the format's weird and a little hard to understand.
Yep.
Any thoughts on the home run derby?
Yeah, it's always exciting. I mean, I'm a softball dad, so I love, seeing the ball leave the park. It's fun to watch. I think that part of the game, the home run derby stuff is fun. But yeah, the format, like I think it was like 10 minutes to hit as many home runs as you can hit. Then, then from there you get a round 2. Yeah, like just go back to what they used to do. Like you get, I forgot, 3 outs. So you hit as many home runs as you can hit until 3 of them hit the ground and don't go out of the park. Like keep it simple. I think what happens when you try to overdo stuff and try to like make sure everything is like the right way, you end up screwing it up. Like just stop. Like even with the 3-point contest, like everything with the 3-point contest is kind of like, well, let's add this to it and let's add some Sprite and let's add some Coca-Cola and let's add, like, just stop all that. Same with the dunk contest. Hey, you got this much time and you can have a person dunk with you, get 3 dunks. Like, stop. It was a reason it was great when Michael Jordan did it. It was a reason it was great when Barry Bonds did it. Stick to that. I loved it when Barry Bonds was in the home run derby. Like it was great. Like those type of days. Cecil Fielder, I think Prince Fielder was in it. Like those were the Vlad Guerrera. Like go back to that. Like it was fine. It was easy for a kid like me to watch it. Now it's just, I mean, I get, and maybe Sam, this is going to the kids that can't focus because they're on tablets all day. Maybe that's why they're doing all this crap. And you want to see lines and all this stuff, and you want to see pure. Like maybe they're trying to get. But I like the old format where it was just easy to keep track of. Who had what home runs, and the goal was home run after home run, not 10 minutes where they're taking. Okay, I got 30 seconds. Let me rest. All right, let's go again. Like it's not about conditioning. Just who can hit the home runs. Let's do that. I don't know what you think about it.
The timed element actually makes it a really tough viewership experience because they're trying to go so quickly that the camera can't keep up. So you're split screen. So the screen's already small. The ball's in the air. You don't know if it's a home run or not. And he's already hitting the next ball.
Right.
And you're seeing balls going in the stands. You don't know if it's fair, if it's foul. Some balls they don't track. Some balls they do. Like it's very hard to know what was a home run. And at the end of it, you're in a daze because you just saw like 50 swings and you have no idea what the count was. It's very difficult to, at least when you don't have the timed element, every swing of the bat gets resolved. Okay, home run. Right. He's got 1. He's got 2. That one didn't make it. All right, he's got an out. So that's where I'm at. I'm with you. I think that it's fun, but it's just not a great product right now.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. I'm going to thank you guys for joining us today. Thank Blake Cashman for joining us in the Hang Around Johnson segment. And next week, we're going to talk defense. We're going to talk offense, because we did defense today. We're going to talk a little offense. What does that bubble look like? Who are the players that we think are going to make this team? And how many receivers? I mean, can they really keep 6? We'll just discuss that next week. But make sure you guys subscribe to Locked On Sports Minnesota. Make sure you keep track, because when training camp starts, man, we're going to have a lot of content about practice. A lot of here's the 1s and 2s. I'm going to be out there, so I'll make sure I keep my ear to the pulse. Maybe, depending on, I might try to do a show from training camp. We haven't done that yet. So maybe I'll either try to do a show from training camp or jump on the Thursday show from training camp. So that'll be fun maybe. And we'll see how we handle that, because I know Arif and maybe, who knows, might try to be out there as well. So we'll see what that looks like. But I'm Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show. And thank you guys for joining me, and have a great week.